everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews. I'm Dave, and it is Friday. And as promised, I'm bringing you the final review of the mystery-themed week. So, if you guys didn't catch on to it, the theme of the week was video game movies. And what better movie to end off the week with than, come on, you already saw the title, the thumbnail, the Super Mario Brothers movie. That's right. So, I'm going to be talking about it. I just saw it today. I thought it was pretty good, but I do have my gripes with it. But before I get into it, I want to remind you guys, go ahead, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and, follow us on all social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I said Facebook, didn't I? We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and, yeah, y'all know I'll be getting tongue-tied sometimes. But, make sure y'all drop a follow over there, drop a sub over there. And also make sure you guys visit dietsmoke.com and enter promo code BrickWall23 to get 15% off your first order. More on that later on. So the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is the highly anticipated animated video game adaptation coming from Illumination Studios. I mean, listen, based on the popular, very well-known video game, the Super Mario Brothers, and all of the different spin-offs and titles and everything. It's a fairly simple plot. It's about having Mario come and save Peach in the Mushroom Kingdom. Not Peach, but it's about having Mario save the Mushroom Kingdom from the evil Bowser after losing his brother while they're being transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. Follows Mario, Luigi. You got all your game characters in here. I mean, Toad, Bowser, Peach, Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong. You got, I'm trying to say, like, I don't really know how else to tee up this movie. Like, this is the movie that everyone's been so excited about. It's Nintendo's first theatrical film since 1993's the Mario Brothers movie that kind of failed. Unless you want to count Detective Pikachu, kind of depends on how you want to look at that. But yeah, so this movie here, like I said, everyone's been waiting on it. Everybody's been excited about it since the first look at the trailer. The first trailer that came out, everyone was like, wow, it looks so beautiful, it looks so faithful. And this being made by Illumination Studios, who has a hit or miss track record. They have the Despicable Me movies, Secret Life of Pets, Sing, all movies that's kind of been up and down on the radar. Minions, of course. So it was a little bit of concern before this movie came out, whether or not it will be good or not, just because Illumination's doing it. But after seeing how much involvement Nintendo actually had with this movie and how visually this looked so amazing and so accurate to the games, everyone was like, wow, I think that this movie is going to be great. And everyone's just been so excited to see this movie and to really, excuse me. Yeah, everyone's been excited to see this movie and give their opinion and really see these characters brought to life in a different way. And you will argue that animation is the best way to bring forth the Super Mario Brothers and any Nintendo property really onto the big screen. So what we have here is a moment in time, honestly, a moment in time. Like I said, Nintendo was directly involved with this. Like Miyamoto was like very hands-on, excited. This is his creation is Mario. Mario is his creation, his pride and joy, if you will. So this had a lot riding on it, especially with we've been getting better video game adaptations in recent years. And so this movie was looked to help break the curse of bad video game adaptations. So the big question about it, though, I was trying to figure out where I was going to go with that. So the big question about it is, does this movie accurately do that? Does this movie actually help break the curse, help push video game movies forward, video game properties and adaptations forward? Earlier this week, you see me talk about The Last of Us. You see me talk about Uncharted. You see me talk about Detective Pikachu. I've talked in the past about Sonic Movie 2. Um, these are all video game properties that were received either very, very well, mixed, or very, very poorly. So this one, I know the reception kind of sits like kind of mixed, and I'll get into that later on in this review. But for right now, I want to tell y'all how I feel about this movie. And I think, honestly and truthfully, taking nostalgia out of it, taking taking hype out of it, taking my expectations out of it, taking all of that, other stuff out of it, and just looking at it as a movie for myself and something that I enjoy. I'm gonna say it was okay. It was okay. The major thing that this movie suffers from, right? And it pained me while I was sitting there watching this movie. It really pained me to realize this. And I understand why they did it, but it still kind of pained me to do it. This movie suffered from over marketing, right? This movie really spoiled a lot of the better parts in the trailers. So that when they happened in the movie, it was just like, oh, I saw this in the trailer. Uh, it was another movie I saw that was like that. I can't remember which one it was, but it was just like all the cool stuff happened in the trailer. Like, yeah, you still had cool stuff that happened in the movie. As with this movie, you do still have your fair amount of cool stuff that happens in this movie, but it's just like you kind of, especially with the Mario Kart parts, they should have really kept that last trailer they dropped at the direct, when they had the big direct around there, and they was talking about how the release date was changed, and they showed the scene. And again, this is not a spoiler, it was in the trailer, but they showed the scene where Mario, he was doing the kart racing. He was jumping off the cart, hit the shell, and threw the shell at the other cart, and then drove away. Was like, flicked his nose and everything, blew the other Koopa cart up and everything. If they would have saved that for the movie, I understand why you put it in the trailer, because you want to show the hype, you want to get everybody hype and everything. But if they just showed a little bit of that, or just showed none of it at all, I think that would have maybe helped the reception of this movie a little more. I think that would have helped how this movie was seen, and that would have been a very pleasant thing to walk into, not knowing that was going to happen, or having seen very little of it. And that's not to say that the Mario Kart portion of this movie was, as a whole, a letdown. It just wasn't as exciting as it should have been, because that was one of the most exciting parts. There is another part that was pretty exhilarating after that entire sequence, and I'm not going to spoil that, but again, the sequence as a whole should have really been like the whoa, wow, woo, and it was just like the so this is what happens after that part in the trailer, huh? And it's not just that. There's a few other things, like with the Donkey Kong power up, when he becomes fire Donkey Kong. That could have been a moment. And again, I understand why you put it in the trailer, to make it hype, to be, yeah, look at that, look at the cool stuff we're doing, come see our movie. But it's just like, they could have saved that. Now, mind you, that entire sequence as a whole, again, that sequence as a whole is really fun and it's really enjoyable to watch. But as I'm watching that in the theater, I'm like, oh, I wish they didn't put this in the trailer, because it would have been so much more fun to watch this moment as a whole for the first time, right? Especially with everything set up around it and how they treat that moment as a whole. It's like, oh, if y'all would have just saved this one though. Oh, so outside of that, this is very much it's a very sweet movie. I will say that. You get the parts with Mario and Luigi. You see them. They do focus on them as brothers, and just they give them an arc. They give them some depth. But the depth that they give them, I'm like sound like Daffy Duck when I say that. The depth that they give them, and the relatability and the three-dimensional character writing they do for it, it kind of feels like it falls a little flat a little bit. But and it really, like, it was good to watch, because mind you, Luigi is one of my favorite game characters. Okay, so I loved seeing Luigi in this. I loved seeing the relationship between those two. It was some good stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not a bad movie. It's just like it's like, okay, so here's the bar of how great it could have been, and here's where it sits. And it's like almost, it's like and matter of fact, it was one part towards the end of the movie, not going to tell you what it was, but there was a moment between I'll kind of hint at what it was. There's a moment between Mario and Luigi that kind of, it kind of like hits right there, right at the line, right at the line. It gets right there, and I'm just like, oh, because it it made me feel. It made me feel, and I was like, oh, wow, that's it. And when that moment happened, I was like, that's it, that's it. And it was like, just, oh, but you're right there. You're right there to this being the girl. You're right there. And it's just like, you're just not quite there. That's not to say this was a bad movie, though. It's just, like I said, it's just like, it's not there. It's not quite there, but it's good. It's enjoyable. And yeah, it's enjoyable. And it, in terms of comedy, though, the jokes don't really all hit. And again, this is where the trailers of this movie kind of the marketing kind of let this movie down a little bit, because the part with the star, Rosalina Star, that was in the cage and Bowser's little lair and everything, saying, we're gonna the sweet release of death, woo! Like all crazy loco. That the star does have other great moments and other great lines of dialogue, but it's just like, again, that moment would have benefited more from not being seen in the trailers, or not having very much of it shown, right? Like, and that's really where this movie kind of shoots itself in the foot, is that the marketing shows so much, and this is kind of what I feared, was that so much of what they showed in the marketing is like, okay, this is like a good 70% of your film. You showed us this, and it's like the rest of it that you didn't show is kind of just like, okay, makes for it's nice, it's an entertaining watch, it's nice to look at. But it's just not, it just doesn't really hit that line of, it doesn't hit that, when it hits that ceiling, mind you, the ceiling is right beneath the line. So it doesn't come here, it comes here. And it's like, it needed that extra, oomph to really kind of break. And again, I'm not saying that I'm coming to a Super Mario Brothers movie looking for peak cinema. Like, I'm not. I went with my daughters and my siblings and everything. A crowd full of kids anyway, and the kids enjoyed it, right? And this is not to say that this is a kids movie and we should not take it seriously, but it's like, the target audience enjoyed it, right? Which is a younger crowd, but the audience that is familiar with games and familiar with the Mario lore and just loves this character, there is so much in this movie for us. I say us because I have I have a good amount of knowledge of the video games and Nintendo history and stuff like that. There is a lot in there. Okay, this is what people claim the MCU was, or sometimes is, which is just Easter eggs set up the movie. This isn't necessarily that severe, but it's like, there's a lot of Easter eggs in here. There's a lot of Easter eggs in here. Not so much that you would have to watch it so many times to go on an Easter egg hunt, but There are some that I know I missed. I know that I would in the second viewing or third or fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, like when it comes on streaming and I watch it, or if I buy it on the Blu-ray or something like that, or digital, and I go and watch it, I'm like, oh snap, I never noticed that. Oh snap, I didn't even see that. Or if I go watch the breakdown videos, which I'm gonna probably end up doing after this review, I go watch the breakdown videos. I'm like, oh snap, oh that's what that was like. But there are so like the movie starts with references. Like it's exciting. Like one of the first big references was to the GameCube. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, wow, that's amazing. There were other references, like you look in the background, I'm seeing like references to old Nintendo games. I'm seeing references to different Mario games, the music cues. I'm like, yo, that's the theme from this. Oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. Oh, there's this, that's that, this is that. So like I'm seeing that and I'm like, wow, they're really doing that. So that was fun. In terms of just having the references, which you knew you were gonna have. You're gonna like, if you're an old school Nintendo fan, you grew up on the Mario things, you're my age, maybe a couple years younger, or even if you are like in that let's say target demographic, like let's say 13 and under, and you've known about video games, like you are very knowledgeable about video games, you're gonna have a blast just looking at the things and hearing the references and especially if you're like a big fan of the Mario games, you're gonna have a ball with the references. That said, and there are a couple of cool cameos in here too. There are a couple of cool cameos from some video game characters. I'm not really gonna spoil, and I'm not gonna make it bigger than what it is, but you're gonna know that certain characters are gonna make an appearance. And if I tell you what it revolves around, you'll be like, well, duh, they make an appearance. And when I say that, you should kind of think about all the characters. Oh no, and that's partially a lie, because there are a couple of appearances that I wasn't expecting, and when they did it, I was like, oh wow, that's so nice. So it's things like that. Yeah, so it was fun. The voice cast did amazing. They did really, really good. Charlie Day as Luigi was great. Chris Pratt as Mario. Like, okay, so here's my thing. I never had a problem with Chris Pratt doing Mario. I didn't really like, we watched the old cartoons. Mario had a Brooklyn accent. And then, like, did y'all really want Chris Pratt to walk in there doing the Italian accent the whole movie? And he's not the Italian, and you were going to complain. Like, no, come on. And I'm sorry, I apologize if that accent offended anybody, but like, let's imagine if Chris Pratt did that for the entire movie. No one was gonna want that. So I mean, and Chris Pratt's performance as Mario is very fun. It's very endearing. He does his work in this movie. Like, shout out to him. It's very fun. Seth Rogen obviously doesn't do another voice. It's really just Seth Rogen. Jack Black as Bowser though. Perfect casting. That was perfect casting. And Keegan Michael Key as Toad. Bravo. So, like I said, the entire voice cast is fun, but those two performances in particular really stuck out a lot more than the other performances. And I love that. And there's a part where all I'm going to say is Bowser's played by Jack Black. There's something that he does in this movie that it's like, of course you would do that with Jack Black in this movie. And it was one of the funniest parts of the movie to me. Like, I honestly, I was like, I'm going to try not to laugh at this. And I could not help it. It was very, very funny. Like, getting into the humor, like I said, I mentioned earlier, the jokes weren't as strong as they could have been or as they should have been. Or that I feel they could. Yeah, they weren't that strong. They were enjoyable, but they just weren't. I feel like they kind of played it safe. I feel like the jokes kind of was like, oh, we're gonna make a joke, but we're not gonna, ha 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 ha. So it kind of played it safe with the jokes. Which was surprising a little bit, because knowing that this is directed by the same two gentlemen who created Teen Titans Go, and how funny that show tends to be, especially when they're with their movie, how funny that movie tended what actually was. It's one of my favorite animated movies in the past few years. Um, it's like, man, you didn't. I was expecting a little bit more from you two with the humor, but I could understand if Nintendo was kind of like, hey, dial it back a little bit, dial it back. All right, let's not get overboard, you guys. Okay. Um, but other than that, like, it's not generic. I wouldn't say this was generic, but you're not coming in here watching a game changing, no pun intended, a game changing movie. You're not coming in here seeing this movie that's gonna change the world. Okay, like you're not coming and seeing a magnum opus. This isn't. I hate to make this comparison. I do this with love, and I do this just for comparison's sake. You're not coming in here seeing Illumination's Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, okay? You're not coming in here seeing Illumination's magnum opus, but you're seeing something that at times gets very close to being some of the best work that the studio's done. You're watching something that shows its potential, shows what it can be, shows what it can do. You're watching something that when you walk out, you're like, well, I wouldn't mind seeing another one of these. You're watching something that is visually pleasing. You're watching something that is at its core a movie about two brothers, and the whole Princess Peach being a strong warrior, blah 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 blah. That's it makes sense in the movie. Like everything in this movie is good. Like it's really really good. Like I can see sequels to this movie being stronger, only better. You know what I'm saying? It only can get better, right? But on that same token, they can also get worse. But I can really just see them getting better, in my opinion. This was a fun movie. Overall, it was really really nice. I did like it. Like I said, I was just whelmed. Like I was just like, I kind of wanted more. Because I saw the potential with Illumination and with how beautiful and how game accurate the animation was and the storytelling was, and I saw how they try to add more to these characters who their only story, to be fair, their only story in the games is here's this guy named Mario. He's going to save this girl named this princess named Peach from this giant turtle dragon Koopa man named Bowser, and you go through different worlds and you save her, and that's it. Like the games have never been that deep on story. You know what I mean? So this movie gives you more of it does its best to give you motivation for these characters, Mario, Luigi. It does its best to Peach and Toad. It does its best to really give you something to try to latch on to. And so it does a good job. It does a good job. I am excited. I would like to see if they do something with Donkey Kong. I would, especially with some of the setup they kind of did in this movie. I would like to see where they go with that. I would definitely be interested in seeing a sequel. To see what else they would do. I would love to see a Luigi's Mansion spinoff. I've always said that though. So I would like to see more of this world. Honestly, like there's nothing wrong with this world. If this turns into a big Nintendo cinematic thing, I would love to see that. Yeah, I mean that. This was a fine film. Okay, this is a fine film. I can go on and on about this, but really, it's just everything I could say and anything I could think is just all going to circle back to me saying, well, it was a fine film. It was fine. It was okay. Not okay. It was fine. It was good. Maybe it could have been a little bit better, but like I said, the big piece of this movie that really kind of made it for me, that really kind of got a reaction out of me that I wanted to feel the entire time was that moment I mentioned earlier between Mario and Luigi around the end of the movie. Um, that was that was the moment for me. And then how they continue to play on that moment going forward for the rest of the film. It's like that was it. That was what this entire movie, and I understand why this entire movie could not have necessarily been that, but that's what I was looking to feel for the whole movie. From the moment it started, I realized that this is the theme of this movie is the relationship between these two characters. I was like, wow, I kind of wish that there were more moments like this, not just between those two characters, but between any characters to make you kind of feel that. And that's what I felt. But I can't talk fully about that moment without spoiling it. But overall, I do recommend this movie. I would say see it. I would say give it a watch. I definitely will say that it's enjoyable. I think you will enjoy it. I think it is something to be enjoyed. Currently, in terms of reviews and ratings and everything like that, this movie is currently sitting at on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is sitting at a 55%. I mean, I'm not upset about that. 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. I know the audience score is way higher on Rotten Tomatoes and everything, but yeah, I mean it's fine. It's quite fine. Like I said, the music really does shine though. The music really does shine. It's woo, they pulled some themes. Um and it's nice. The third act actually, like the finale, the climactic battle. I hate to keep going on, I'm sorry, but the climactic battle really is good. It's good. It was enjoyable. Like you get some of the best that this movie has in that last maybe I'll say I say this just as a general range. In about the last 15 to 20 minutes, you get more of what this movie really had to offer in the last 15 to 20 minutes. Everything before that is still good, but this movie kind of really shines a bit more in that last 15 to 20 for me. But overall though, my rating of this movie out of 5 stars, I'm gonna give this four out of 5 stars. Because just like this movie, my review, my rating is like so close. It's the ceiling, and it's like knocking the glass ceiling. Like I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it, and it's just not breaking it. But it's still good. It's enjoyable. If you have kids, your kids will love it. If you're a video game person, you're specifically Nintendo video games, you're gonna love it. The Mario. One last thing. The Mario Kart part, I would have liked that to be a little bit stronger of an intro. That was the goofiest part for me. That was when I was like, oh, so that's how you're gonna do it, right? That's how you're gonna do this. That's how you brought this in. That was the part to me that felt ham-fisted. Just felt like they shoved that in there. And you would think with how much the marketing focused on that particular part, with the Mario Kart, you would think that the setup for that was going to be better. It was not that great. And I was like, oh, huh. So, but again, I don't want to keep harping on. I'm here longer than I planned to be anyway. But like I said, I give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. It is good. The performances are good. The animation, of course, beautiful. The music, beautiful. The references, amazing. Yeah, you're gonna. I think it's good. It's definitely a good film. It's a good watch. It just definitely suffered from oversaturation of marketing. Fair, because you want people to come see this, but I think that the trailers definitely showed a lot. But that's it. That's all I have to say for you guys before I'm here for another 30 minutes. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this review. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed my review. Yeah, and I'll be back again. Thank you all for sticking with me this week as I did my themed week and this big reveal, surprise, everything. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed all the content I've dropped this week. And I will be back. I have more reviews coming. I'm ready. There's some stuff coming to drop. So the best way to keep up is to subscribe. Make sure your notifications are on. I know I always get a lot of feedback about the notifications not notifying people. So really make sure that bell is on, and really make sure you're checking the page to see when I'm dropping and everything. But I'm already here way too long. So until next time, you guys, stay easy, be breezy, subscribe, like, share, and until next time, peace.